Pussycat Dolls star Jessica Sutta is revealing now that she was severely injured by a new pharmaceutical that was still being studied when she took it. Take a look.
I found that your show is the safest place to be, to speak my truth, because I know there's a lot of people suffering out there. And I know it's brave for me to do this, which I think is crazy. But now I have the strength to do it, and that's why I'm here.
Well,
so thank you for having me.
So the injury happened in 2021. This is a very popular pharmaceutical that was supposed to prevent against a new pandemic illness. We're not supposed to talk about this pharmaceutical here on YouTube. And as she said, she has to be brave to even come forward to tell this story. This huge pop star from Pussycat Dolls will likely, risk, she's likely jeopardizing career opportunities by letting people know that she was indeed injured when that needle was inserted into her arm back in 2021. She came forward to the Epic Times, the safest place to tell her story, the alternative media. Since she has come forward, there is mainstream media silence about what has happened to this pop star. The silence to me is deafening when they will cover a home she's purchased, the fact that she's pregnant, she's going on tour. But this devastating injury, there's radio silence, and the silence is everything. I didn't know that the entertainment industry, that E! News was also bought and paid for by Big Pharma. But you see, whoever is bought and paid for by Big Pharma is not allowed to talk about the fact that Big Pharma, in many cases, is not healthy for you. Let's look at our next soundbite with Epic Times.
But it's real, and I live it every single day. But I think my point of being here, Jan, since I'm also a fan of your show, I would like to speak to the injured and let them know that they're not alone. This is real. Your voice matters. You're loved. It's time to take off your tinfoil hat that has been so graciously given to you by other people, because you're not crazy. It's happening. And I think it's time to get the researchers and the doctors involved to heal us, because I know we will heal. And I think it's important to speak out now, truly.
So we're going to get into what exactly has happened to her and what she's dealing with right now. First, shout out to the sponsor of my coverage. It's not a pharmaceutical company, it's Gold. I'm sponsored by Gold, no pharma here, which is why I'm allowed to talk about it. All right, so we are at war and we're in recession. Two things the government doesn't want you to know, but it's only a matter of time until cracks start to show. And do you know what who'll get hit the most? Little people like us. That's why you need to protect yourself and your family, because things will get worse. Fortunately, Noble Gold Investments is here to help you. You've worked too hard to build up your savings and investment to see it all crushed to bits. Precious Metals IRA with Noble Gold Investment ticks all the boxes to keep you safe. And this month, they're giving away a beautiful Gold Eagle Bullion coin with every qualifying IRA of $50,000 or higher. Stop worrying. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com, or Ivory Hecker Gold, linked down below. They made a custom URL for me. ivoryheckergold.com, linked down in my description. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold Investments. There's always a risk of loss with any investment. Checking your comments. Thanks so much, Kevin, for the super chat. Yeah. Humanity, what a curse word show. Absolutely. We're going to look back on history. I hope we make it through this frightening era we're in, and we're going to look back on history and be stunned that someone who was injured by a pharmaceutical has to have such great courage to come forward and say, this happened to me. This is still happening to me. I'm in excruciating pain. I feel like I'm being electrocuted 24/7. After I took a liquid injection, can't say that word on YouTube, into my arm. And the fact that in the media, you can't say, you cannot tell the truth about anything that ends up being negative in regards to these pharmaceuticals. Sweeping across every major outlet, from E! News loves to cover this woman. They are not saying a word about what's happened to her now. All the way to YouTube. I'm not allowed to mention what happened to her. And I'm only, of course, I skirt around YouTube's rules all the time. I'm going to cover this story because people need to know this is happening. That these new pharmaceuticals that got stuck in the arms and shoulders of billions of citizens around the world. Turns out there's a whole lot of people who are not doing well. And there are a ton of them who are suffering in silence because they're so scared of the wrath and criticism and gaslighting that will come upon them if they say, you know what, I'm not feeling well at all. Okay, we're going to look at what happened to her. So 3 days, so she gives birth in 2021, which the entertainment industry covered extensively. Oh my gosh, she's pregnant. Oh my gosh, she's still going to tour when she's pregnant. Oh my gosh, she did a gender reveal. Oh my gosh, she's giving birth. So they're covering all of that. Why won't they cover this big update? So 2 months after giving birth in 2021, it was August, she gets the needle. You're wondering which needle. She got the one that starts with an M. And 3 days after getting that needle, this happens.
I woke up in the most excruciating muscle spasm. And as an athlete and a professional dancer, it just felt so different. It felt like I'd broken my rib. I'd broken my rib before on tour. So I know pain very well. I've danced about 3 shows after I broke my rib, so I'm familiar with pain. So I went and did all the therapies that I would normally do, the chiropractor, acupuncture, massage, rest, and nothing would get this muscle spasm out. So it was September 15th, 2021, I admitted myself to the hospital. And they ran all these tests, all this blood work. I did a CAT scan, and come to find out, I'm in perfect health. Like, there was absolutely nothing wrong with me.
And we're hearing this from so many of the injured, that they're having these like futuristic injuries that doctors have never seen before. Like I mentioned, one woman described it felt like she was being 24/7 electrocuted. She goes into a doctor, tries to describe that and say, hey, how can you test for this, figure out what's wrong? Doctors don't even know how to test for that. They can't identify the fact that she's feeling like she's being electrocuted. Apparently it's some sort of nerve death symptom that's happening. And so, but, with these sort of injuries, we're seeing, all kinds, a plethora of different bizarre futuristic type of injuries. And doctors say, well, you seem to be in perfect health. So that happens to her. She leaves there and just feels gaslit. And then it was her personal trainer. She's living out there in Hollywood. She's got this celebrity trainer, and the trainer's like, hey, you might want to check into that needle you got in the arm, because I have a friend who's not doing so well after that needle. That could be you too. She's like, what? So that was her first thought, that maybe there was a connection. Even though it was only 3 days after the needle that she started to feel this way. I hear this from a lot of people. There's even, my sister's a massage therapist, and she'll have patients who come to her about these bizarre issues that they're having as well. And they say, well, they did start just after the needle, but it's not needle. I know it's not needle associated. In Jessica was the same way. Again, this is Jessica Sutta of the Pussycat dolls. And she's like, oh yeah, it can't be related to the needle. It's just a coincidence, right? Because they don't want, nobody wants to be one of these people who got injured associated with the needle. All right. Well, then, so she's trying to get this insane, it feels like knives are stabbing into her right here. And she's going to a massage therapist. She feels like she finally got it worked out. when things get worse. Here it is.
And once I got the muscle spasm out, I was laying in bed. All of a sudden, I started developing a tremor. And then the next couple nights, I started getting involuntary head jerks and leg jerks. And it scared me because it felt like, oh my God, this is not my body anymore. What is going on? And so when I went to a rheumatologist, she said, you know, you have fibromyalgia. I did a whole nother blood test, a whole line of blood tests, everything you can imagine, and nothing indicated any type of autoimmune disease. Nothing was abnormal. So she said, you have to work out, it's fibromyalgia, you'll work through this. So when I would do that, it actually made things worse. And I was in a yoga pose, and as I was twisting my spine, I came back, and that's when the neuropathy started. And
just very briefly, you know, for those that might not know, what does that mean exactly?
So small fiber neuropathy feels like you're on fire. It feels like it's burning all throughout your rib cage. In my case, it was in my rib cage and all the way down my spine.
So now she's got head jerks, tremors, the feel of actual burning, like something's burning in under her skin. And it was another person who took the M needle who also described burning. And she can't figure out what the heck is wrong. Now I want to just show you, she's been dealing with this now since 2021, but the amount of media, you know, she gets all this media attention. Here's Metro News out of the UK. Pussycat doll star Jessica Sutta is 7 months pregnant, but still plans on going on tour. You can see, oh, I'll show you her being with the Pussycat dolls. I mean, this video right here, this music video, they've got 7 million views. She's got Snoop Dogg shouting her out by name. You know, she's covered by the media, and nobody wants to cover this. Only the Epic Times. Here we go. Pussycat doll star Jessica Sutta pounces on secluded Monte Nido horse ranch. You know, talking about she bought a $3.5 million home. E! News loves to cover her. You know, oh my gosh, she gives birth. See her gorgeous maternity photos. And they've got all these photos. But what happened 2 months after giving birth? Well, she knew E! News wouldn't want to cover that. So she came forward to the Epic Times instead. And sure enough, E! News is not picking that up when normally they would. In fact, I haven't even seen TMZ pick this up. If anything, I feel like TMZ would, but who knows how bought and paid for TMZ is. I want to show you one more clip from her interview with Epic Times, talking about how she had no informed consent, which is illegal. By law, you have to give informed consent, especially when you're administering something that's emergency use authorization. And I would tell my boss that, hey, boss, you know, back when I was at Fox, as we're hyping up this brand new pharmaceutical that's still being studied, hyping it up every single day, begging our viewers to take it for some reason. And I was saying, boss, why do we act like we are the ad agency for this pharmaceutical? I just want to know. But while we're hyping this up, are we making clear what emergency use authorization means? That this thing is still being studied, that there's a lot we don't know about this thing, that is not the same as approved. And even approved can be sketchy. I don't trust the FDA to approve something, but especially after what we just went through. And then we started, you know, at Fox and in the other media, we started just saying authorized. Emergency use authorization means that we're going to cautiously say you can try this with as far as well, you know, as long as you know that you are a part of the experiment now. And I was saying to my boss at Fox, are we making clear that's what emergency use authorization means? That you can take it, but you are now a part of the experiment, because it is still being, I mean, this thing is brand new. It's still being studied. But then we sneakily started to say, well, it's authorized, not emergency use authorization, but just authorized, which sounds a lot like approved. Well, hey, this thing's authorized. And so it was very deceptive. And she's talking about how, she was taking this authorized pharmaceutical back in August of 2021. And then she finds out the hard way, the very hard way, that she was never warned about what was about to hit her body.
I didn't want it to be real, especially as I was just trying to do the right thing. I couldn't imagine that this could ever happen. This wasn't something that was warned. I didn't get a heads up that this could be a reaction, kind of an autoimmune response. And to this day, I still get gaslit to think that it's not real.
So this is having spoken to many people who have been injured now, this is very common.
So he's saying it's very common, which I think is why she came forward to him. So I want to shout out the Epic Times and shout out to Jan Jekulek, if I'm saying his name right. He's the one who interviewed her from American Thought Leaders. Shout out to the Epic Times. I actually have a little partnership with them. If you want to go subscribe to Epic Times, they have such great coverage that you're not going to see elsewhere, because they are not bought and paid for by pharma. They're not bought and paid for by these creepy special interests. So you can click my link down in the description. You'll get a nice big discount if you subscribe to them through my link with my code Ivory. And you'll get a lot more of what's really going on, because stories like hers are suppressed and hidden. You're seeing how, E-News loves her. All the gossip, entertainment outlets love her. They want to, they cover everyone else's health issues. Like, oh, so-and-so is developing dementia. So-and-so has Alzheimer's, but, oh, so-and-so had a bad thing happen after trying a pharmaceutical that was still being studied. Oh, after we lied about the fact it was still being studied. Yeah, we're not going to cover that one. So we'll see if anyone picks this up. The story was just dropped this week. It took her over a year to get up to come to grips with the fact that she was severely injured by a new pharmaceutical that was still being studied. But she was tricked into, she said, I just wanted to support my community, but protect my community by getting that needle. I was told if I get the needle, I'm protecting my community. So that's what she went to do. And she didn't know that needle was still being looked at. Still a lot not known about it. No warning that she would feel like her insides were burning and that she would have involuntary head jerks. So she feels confident she can heal from this. She's focusing on healing now. I believe in healing as well. One thing I hate in covering stories like this is this belief that there's no solution. I believe strongly in the power of the human body to heal, and the power of human intention. When you decide that you're going to heal and you focus on healing, you ask God to give you a solution, to give you the answers on how to heal. You wait in faith and the answers will come and healing will come. And there are people that are healing. So I wish her the very best in her healing journey. And I'm so glad she had the courage to come forward, because this may help open the eyes of others. Because we know this is not going to be the only, this is not the last time that a new pharmaceutical is going to be pushed on us. It's always going to be something else. This pharmaceutical industry, they are filthy rich. They're already working on their next big drug and the next big ad campaign surrounding it. So hopefully her story will enlighten people that drugs are not all bad. Avoid the illegal drugs, avoid the legal drugs too. Avoid the drugs that are being pushed on the TV. Avoid them all. Get back to nature. All right, with that being said, you guys have a great weekend. I know I didn't do truth bombs today. I've had a hectic month, lot going on in addition to the thing that I talked about in the video I did earlier this week about why I've been missing. You can see that video and see, you know, some of the stuff I've been dealing with this month. That's just a part of it. It's been crazy. So I'm going to get back to truth bombs when the dust settles, hopefully next week. Wish me luck. Thank you for supporting my YouTube. I did another video today that's very dangerous for my YouTube channel, so I appreciate you supporting it. I do have Rumble and BitChute as backup, just in case I get nuked on YouTube, so please go support my Rumble and BitChute, link down in my description, and all my social media links down there. I appreciate you guys tuning in with me, and hopefully I can continue to cover stories like this that the other media, even the other independent journalists, are too scared to cover because it might nuke their YouTubes. But I like to at least try to get some of the truth out there about what's really going on. Why do independent journalists stay on YouTube? Because that's where the advertisers pay the most. We would all love to be on Rumble, I'm sure. I can't speak for everyone, but I know there's a lot of people who'd love to be on Rumble. If the advertisers would switch over. So we're all hoping that the advertisers will switch over. The advertisers are waiting for the viewers to switch over because the advertisers go where the viewers go. So more and more I've been getting bigger views on Rumble. So I'm hopeful that we can switch over. There've been a few videos that have had more views on Rumble than on YouTube for me. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for supporting both. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later.